I learned a lesson that I don't think I'll ever forget, and I imagine most of you have learned the same lesson one way or another. Our family got ready to take really our first vacation. We had 3 kids at the time. They were small. And we started to decide how to do it, where to go, what to do. And I told my wife, I said, you know what? Motorhomes have just come out. Now, they're real popular now. They've been out a long time, but they had just come on the scene. And I said, uptown, there's a guy renting them. You don't have to buy one. We can just rent the thing. And wouldn't that be a neat idea? We could go camping and have our own little home on wheels. And my wife asked me a question that was insulting. She said, well, do you think you can handle something like that? How many of you men understand? We're omnicompetent at that kind of stuff. I mean, there ain't anything we can't handle. And I said, sure, I can handle it. And she said, well, okay. And I went up and talked to the guy, and man, the numbers on renting it were really good for a week. And I asked him, I said, is this thing hard to handle? He said, I'm going to tell you the truth. Whoever wrote the book of directions knew what they were doing. He said, if you read the book I give you, he said, I'm telling you, everything about that motorhome is in the book. And he was right. I'm telling you, it had the best table of contents, the best index. Man, they had pictures and graphs of everything. Whoever put that thing together did a great job. Well, we lived in Cleveland, Ohio, loaded my wife and my 3 kids up. We drove down to Nashville, Tennessee, to the Percy Priest Lake. And man, we put up in our little motorhome. Man, we were going at it, just having the time of our life. And on the second day there, my wife came out. We were getting ready to eat breakfast at a picnic table. And she said, what does that light in the hall mean? It's lit. I said, what light in the hall? She said, I'm telling you, there's a little red light in the hall, and it's glowing really bright. I said, I didn't even know there was one there. I walked in, took a look. Man, it's about the size of a dime. I mean, that thing was lit like a flashlight. I said, I don't know what it means. Get the book. Lights, hall. There it was. It said, when that light comes on, your holding tanks are full. How many of you know what holding tanks are? For those of you not conversant in the fine art of motorhoming, all the stuff from the toilet and everything else has to go into a tank. And when you got 3 kids, a lot goes into the toilet. I mean, you got that thing. And it was time to dump the tank. And it gave very specific instructions. It said, number 1, find where the dump sewer is. So, man, I inquired, and they said, oh, it's right down over there. Man, I drove down, and they gave a diagram. It said, position the left rear of the motorhome right by the sewer hole. And I did it perfect. Then it said, you have a hose in the bumper. I told my wife, this book cannot be right. I've been by that bumper 500 times. There is no hose there. But the book said go back, and it said pull a little rubber cap off the end. It said look inside, you'll find your sewer hose. Man, I pulled that little thing off, took that hose out. Man, it brand new, never been used. I thought, man, this is great. Then it showed you exactly how to hook it up. Hook it on, had a little latch there. Then it said lay it along the ground and let it go down the sewer. I did it perfect. Now it said go to the opposite side of the motorhome. So I did that. And the next direction, I will never forget if I live to be 300. I quote, it said, in order for the tanks to empty with a positive force. That's what it said. It said, find the little air nozzle right by the rear tire. And it said, put 10.5 pounds of air pressure in the holding tank. Only I didn't see that little dot. It's a very small dot. I thought it said put 105 pounds of air in. Now, there's air right there, air, water, everything. And I told my wife, I'll do the hard part. I'll put the air in the tank. I said, you come over here. And when I give you the high sign, you just have to do that. Now, while I'm explaining her part to her, another vehicle pulls up. And it is fresh, brand spanking new from the factory. The most drop-dead, gorgeous, converted bus you have ever seen. I mean, it pulls in, it dwarfs my little motorhome. The guy with the bus gets out and he said, you like my bus? I said, whoa, yeah. He said, I just got it from the factory. There's not a bug on it. I said, no kidding. His wife said, that's right. We hit 2 bugs driving here, and he got out and wiped them off. I said, man, you are fastidious. He said, do you want to know what I paid for this? I said, yeah. Now, you got to remember, this is like 1972, 71. He said, I paid $232,000 for it. Whoa. Man, I told him, that is some golden calf you got. Look at that thing. Wow. He said, do you know why I'm here at the dump station? I said, no idea. He said, I want to get the dust out of my tanks. I said, man, you are fastidious. Now my wife tugged on my coat and she said, come on, we got more than dust in ours. Let's get back to work. So I said, okay, babe, you stay here. I'll go here. Do you know how long it takes to put 105 pounds of pressure in something? I mean, it's that old-fashioned air pump that's going ding, ding, ding. How many of you remember those ding, ding? I mean, this thing is just going ding, 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 taking forever. After a couple of minutes, my wife comes around. And she said, what's taking so long? I said, to do it right takes time. I'm doing it right. That answers everything. She said, well, I got a question. I said, what's the question? She said, if you look in there by the tire, you see that metal tank? I said, yeah. She said, why is it bulging? I said, it's made to do that. That's what it does. I mean, I got this. I don't think I ever did get 105, but I got over 100. Finally, I told my wife, pull the valve. When she pulled that valve, that stuff in that holding tank come whooping down that hose, and that hose stood up. And that hose is going brrrr all over that brand new bus. He had a screen window right there. We had stuff in that hose went almost 150 feet. We painted that bus from one end to the other. I came around the corner, here's my wife hugging that hose, saying, help me, Jesus, help me. Oh. That's why every time I see a motorhome, I go, Do you know what was on the other side of that bus? A kiddie's wading pool.